little bit of an update. Clean the head up. Head's no good. The head's warped. Got a little bit of a linear warp in it, so it'll have to go to the machine shop or be replaced with a remanufactured unit, which customer decided we're going to go with the remanufactured unit. Of course, that puts me in a hold up now because it's got to be shipped here. Nothing here in our area would have something like that. Not going to have it. We got about 8,000 to 9,000 warp, and it's kind of a little bit on the sideways warp, so I can't put it on. I got to take the phasers off of it, and I'm going to give you a fair bit of warning. There's probably some people that think, oh, we can straighten that at home. No, you cannot. I mean, you might be able to straighten that head, but the recommendation on something like that is, my recommendation, for one, as a decent mechanic and also a machinist, I would tell you, you need to do valves. The valves need to be seated and all that good stuff. So no, I would not. I would requalify. I would have everything requalified and put together right, because that straightening at home with a torch and all that horse crap that you see on YouTube, no, don't do it. I mean, do what you want to, obviously, but don't. I recommend don't do it. It's not worth it. You're taking a chance. I don't care how many people have done it and it's working. You're taking a chance. These engines right here, finicky, very, very finicky in the first place. Don't even make that attempt. But anyway, we're gonna continue on with the oil pan. The oil pan is next. I got all our sealer. Let me grab that real quick. Let me grab it out of the bag. Got us a MicroGuard oil filter to start it up and run it for an hour, and then we're going to switch it to the old wicks. That's my preferred one. And yes, I got it from O'Reilly, not a sponsor. So, whoa, I can give you a GM number for the. They used to be black. They used to use black RTV silicone. Now they use gray RTV silicone. Now, this here is the one that I'm going to use. That is a better grade of gray silicone. It's better than the Permatex Ultra Gray. Not a sponsor. And then you're gonna use the dielectric grease, the white lithium. Or not lithium, silicone grease. You're going to use this grease right here on all the O-ring seals that you're putting into this engine. That is what GM recommends, or not this, but they recommend you to use a white silicone grease, and I can link part numbers if you want them. If you're going to pull the oil pump, the oil filter housing off the block, which you should, because that's a leaking item, this is the gasket for it. Looks something like this. This is what I'm looking at here. Completely flat. There's an O-ring here that you can also, it's readily available. But anyway, it may come with your headset that you order. This one is going to get a Velcro headset, 100%. I'm not messing around with anything else. I did a comparison, and honestly, I thought GM was the way to go. I think Velcro is one up on them. This is my opinion. It doesn't matter. It's my opinion. Anyway, we're going to take this block, flip it over, get it buckled back up to the transmission. I'm going to try to give you a peek on the underside of this right here. I hope I can hold that to where you can see it. It's obviously been cleaned. Now, what I did is I left all the bolts in there when I was taking it apart. I didn't take none of the bolts out. So, you see all them bolts sticking out? They're all equal lengths, and then you got the two bigger bolts on the bottom side. You can't miss those. But anyway, these are going to stay as they are till I'm actually able to work on this. This in the front right here, that is your oil pump. So, to not make a mistake on that, generally, to the best of my knowledge, they don't go out. So we should be good to reuse that. Like I said, I've cleaned all that. We're going to have to do some more surface cleaning, obviously, later. and I'm not even going to do the seals on this one yet. I will do that when the head gets here. A little bit of surface prep on this surface here. Of course, that was a coolant hole. Don't keep your panties on now. We'll check it this way. What I did here is I got me a magnet just to hold it, to help me hold it in place. I don't have to hold it. So that's a 1000 shim, so we get a little bit of shim action right there. Nothing here. There is maybe a thou right there. Moving it to the center. I'm not pushing on it. Nothing, 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 nothing. This one here is just barely pushing under. So we got about 1 thou variation on the deck of the block, and that's fine. That's within the limits. Combined, you get about 4,000 between the cylinder block surface and the cylinder head surface. You got to combine 4,000 total. And no, that does not mean that you can have 4 here and none on the other. No, that's not what that means. That just means I'm just giving you some clearances. That's all I'm doing. Your best bet is to have a significant amount of, or a significant stock in shop towels and all that good stuff, because you're going to need a lot of them. Cleanliness is your best bet on all this. I've seen too many times where RTDs, sealers, and all that good stuff didn't work on account of there still being oil. You know, we have to remove the oily film. That's just always to it. There's always going to be some amount coming off of it. You're not going to keep that from happening. Now, anyway, getting back to silicone, I'm going to explain that one time only. The factory wants you to put a bead close to the inside, and if you pay attention, you can see your outline. You don't want to get into no gallery holes or anything like that, but we're going to go around the outside where the original bead used to be, and they want you, as I said, to line this pan up. We can do that. Ideally, you're going to match up on the back side here. You take the flywheel off of it, and we might still do that. Let me pause you up. Get the angle down a little bit. So if you have a buddy that's got a lathe, or if you're lucky enough to have a lathe yourself, I did this right there. Oh, the camera can focus in on that or not. Anyway, I put a little slot in it, polish it up with some emery. These are just under 8 mil. This fits perfect through these holes. Run a drill bit backwards if you need to. You didn't see it there. Daggone thing, I just did. But I'm using these 2 holes right here. This is nearly a perfect alignment. You don't want them body fit. These are guides. Okay, that goes in this part of the block. Like I said, they're just under 8 millimeter. You're going to want to be in a spot where you can get to it with a screwdriver. Don't use the tall spots. You have to have a long screwdriver. But anyway, if there's one, got one more to make. A little bit too tight. Do a little bit more polishing. See if that second time is a charm. Fits in this one. Bottom of this one is still a little bit tight. It's manageable. It's going through there, but it's a shade bit tight. I'm going to give it one last little cleaning. Okay, so still have to have a little bit of spritz of air. Get the right stuff over here. I'll pause you up for just a second. All right, they want you to have a good 2 millimeters thickness around the outside perimeter like I got it here, and that is about 80 thousandths for the people on this side of the pond. Check it out, see where it's at, see if you like it. I don't like this yet, so this is not too late. I'm going to put a little bit closer to this side here. Wow, a little bit right there. Like I said, I don't want to redo this later. That one seemed to be all right. So what you want to do, and that's the main thing, is to line this back up. And I can already tell you, this feels pretty darn good. Look at all your bolt holes, and they look like really, really good as far as the way they're lining up. You're supposed to do this with a straight edge. I can feel it's lined up. And whatever it is, don't do what I just did. I forgot this corner right here. These notches, it wasn't touching. So we got all the bolts started. Should have made my slot a little bit wider. There's one. Or I could find a screwdriver that's got a little bit thinner blade. That'll work too. There's two. Don't take the overhang off. Do not cut that yet. If you're doing a two-part like I did, don't cut it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this one. All we got to do is torque that up. 89 inch-pounds. Yeah, 89 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. So, at this point in time, you can trim the back if you want to. You know what? It ain't gonna hurt nothing to hang on there. I'm leaving this one just as is and put the flywheel back on. I'm not gonna film that part. All right. So for everybody that can't figure this out on their own, when you get done with the assembly of the pan, take your fingertip and go across the silicone in the front of the oil pan. Don't cut. Just go straight across. That'll give you a good edge later on to put your front cover on. Works perfectly fine, done it many times, not had leaks. Of course, now we're back down to the transmission assembly. You'll love that little toy. See where it wants to naturally go? Naturally it wants to go too low. So I have to do a little bit of build-up. These around. Close. Close, 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 close. We should definitely be able to manipulate that after we lock these friggin' wheels into place. Got to remove my torque converter holder. Now I'm going to pause you up for just a second because I'm going to put some gloves on. These things got sharp edges, and when you're doing this, I don't want to get cut up. Real life struggles, no cheating. I found this here. It's another lifting device. I've just used one bolt, and don't worry, you're not going to hurt this thing because it doesn't weigh that much. You could probably do this by hand. A little bit crooked there. Oh. Gotta find the appropriate wrench. And I think the verdict is in, by the way. Gear wrench. Very disappointed. Very disappointed in these wrenches. The straight jaw part of it flexes way too much. Poor material. This is closed up, by the way. There's no gap anywhere. Well, that thing went in. Couldn't have gone any better. So. I mean, you should know you got torque converter bolts. Watch that on the other video. I'm not going to repeat all that. I am going to get this done. And if you're like me, don't forget to spray this down, cover it up. There is one tiny little thing I'm going to tell you before I end the video right here. See, that was the first bolt right there. On an assembly like that, you know, you had better been able to roll this with your finger, okay? So if that don't roll, you got a problem. I mean, this now needs to move by hand. Of course, you're going to have a little bit of drag on there, but not, you know, not to the point where it should be dragging. Anyway, I'm gonna pause you up there, finish this job up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea where I left off. Got no freaking clue. We got our replacement head. I hope that's where I left off. The #1 piston is rolled up to near top dead center. And when I say to near top dead center, as far as I'm concerned, that's about as top dead center is going to get. So, now, I'll load this head up. I shouldn't have put the sprockets on already. I should have actually waited with that. So it's very important that you not scratch around on these. They're not going to like scratching. I'm going to link the torque spec and the sequence once I edit the video. We've got a few more brackets that's got to go on that we have to exchange. Of course, there's the core on the old head, so I had to take the phasers off of it. You will have to have the tools to do the proper what am I trying to say, the proper timing on these here, because all this is loose in a nutshell. Like so. This will have to be timed up, all of that good stuff. There's a kit the GM makes. There's a plug. I think I got a video on the timing, so I'm not going to go into details, but here is a side plug that goes into the crankshaft that sets at 0. So anyway, moving on, I'm going to pause you back up, get them head bolts in it. I did go ahead and get new head bolts this time. So these are just Velcros. A little bit of controversy on what to use. You can use oil on these here. Motor oil is fine. Before you put them in, dip them a little bit. They don't have to be soaked. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish that up. People are going to go nuts when I say this, but 26 foot-pounds, 180 degree, work from the center out if you don't remember it. It's not that big of a deal. Interruptions. That's the tool that actually does these. It's just a torque socket, it just made to stick up. Now on this front gasket. Remember, I had you leave the silicone. I had you wipe it with the finger. I'm just refreshing my own memory here. So this gasket doesn't touch it yet, so that's going to get a little bit more silicone in the corner before we put the front on there. Anyway, you'll have to put your gasket on. We're not doing this right this minute, but you have to put your gasket on in order to do the timing. The timing kit is consistent of this. Well, it's a kit like this right there. That's the pin that locks the cam into place. That's the lock for the phaser. That's the bridge that normally goes over it, so you know that everything is timed properly. Anyway, I'm gonna pause you back up.